and welcome to This Week in Metropolis. I'm James.
And I'm Matt. In this show, we are going to be reflecting on the year 2021 and how it was for us, but not in a deep personal sense, more of a what we consumed and the media that was out there and what was cool and what we enjoyed. So, yeah, look forward to talking about all those.
Yeah, but before we get into the latest episode, make sure you like and subscribe to us on all our different social media platforms and on YouTube. We appreciate everyone who already does, but if you know someone who doesn't, why? Why aren't they? Why aren't they, Matt? I don't know. I mean, we've been going long enough now. They should be subscribed to our channels.
There are two options in that situation, really, isn't there? And there's one, make them do it. Two, defriend them.
Let's do that. Let's do that. But before we get into the episode, let's just watch this.
Hello and welcome to This Week in Metropolis.
And welcome to the final episode of 2021. Can you believe it? This year has it just disappeared. It's flown by.
Yeah. And one thing with the years that we have now, and I think that is just because I'm getting old, is that the year 2021, when I write that down or whatever it may be, it feels like I'm in the future. And like thinking 2022, it's like a sci-fi year for me. It's not real. As such.
I get that. I do get that. Yeah. It's been a mad year. It has been a mad year. We've obviously had kind of getting back to normality after COVID, and then we feel like we're slowly slipping back in. We're slipping back into it again. But yeah, it's been a bit mad. I'm just trying to think of all the different things that have happened this year, other than the obvious negative news that's happened.
Yeah.
But just kind of getting back to doing normal things again, even meeting up and things like that. I mean, I know we kind of still met up in gardens and things like that during the first kind of whole lockdown situation, but just felt like this year I went to the cinema again. I was going to clubs again, nights out.
Exactly. Restaurants, hugging people.
Hugging people.
All this madness. Yeah.
Speaking of people, if you are watching tonight, if you're joining us either on Facebook Live or on YouTube, make sure you drop us a comment, say hi, and we'll give you a mention. If you've got any questions for us, because I'm going to throw out there, Mark hasn't this week. He is busy. Mark, I know he's gone.
He's sacked. Like, let's just put that out there now.
It's sacked.
Over. So if anyone wants to volunteer, years of hard work, he's just blown it. So if anyone wants to volunteer when Mark's not available, we'll have question. We've had question Ethan in the past.
We did have question.
That was a one-off for the old listeners, if they remember that. So yeah, he's dead to us. Let's move on.
Strong. Yeah, but how was your Christmas? Let's talk about Christmas because we've just gone past it.
It was different. Without dwelling on COVID and so on, unfortunately, my youngest tested positive a week before Christmas, so that sort of changed Christmas on the sort of Christmas Day and Boxing Day. However, today was our pretend Christmas, where we had the dinner and the family and everything like that. So double Christmas. So you have to look at it in the positive light.
No, you didn't make him. You didn't make him wait to open all his presents then.
We had Christmas. He was in the garage. Yeah, he was fine. They had crisps.
Amazing.
How was yours?
It was nice. Again, different to yours because last year, I think everyone was in that situation where, well, not everyone. Some people chose not to. Excuse me, but last year we literally just had our family.
Yeah.
In at home, which was kind of nice in some ways because the kids didn't have to worry about getting ready. We weren't all rushing about to get ready and do the rounds as such. But this year, going back to seeing both sides of the family was really nice. And having all the kids together, with their cousins and things like that, it was lovely. So that was nice. But the big question is, What was your favourite present that you got?
Well, I've got two that I've fortunately prepared for that question. The first of which you sort of know about, because I sort of knew about it before, is this. My Nike Air Mag replicas. Before anyone starts thinking, look at him, he's flash, he's got loads of money. They're not the real thing. They are replicas, which I have put the stickers on the back and the swooshes, and the little sticker that goes there is on its way. So yeah, Nike Air Mag replicas, which are just awesome.
They look massive.
No, they are actually a little bit big on my feet, but they're supposed to be a size 9. They're supposed to be a size 9, which I am.
Do you just wear multiple pairs of socks?
Yeah, I'll be wearing enough pair of shoes inside them just to make them fit. However, the second present is one that obviously you know about, which is the Hip Hop Family Tree comic, which James kindly bought me, which is absolutely awesome. It's something I've wanted for so long. It's something that I thought looked so cool, and I never got it. And now I've got it. So brilliant.
Well, a big thanks to Chris from Off My Shelves, who reviewed it. I can't remember the episode now. It wasn't that long ago. And the second I saw it, I thought I need to get this for Matt, and I hunted high and low to get that for you. So
two worlds colliding: comics and hip hop. What more do you want? Really?
And I'm glad you like it. Well, me and the wife actually decided that because we're having some housework stuff done, that we wouldn't go crazy this Christmas on each other, and we'd just kind of focus on the kids. Although she did get me a nice present from the kids, which was a nice kind of calendar for my desk with pictures of all of us together, one of them soppy things, which I really do appreciate. But I'm actually sporting one of my presents, which my mum made for me.
Spider-Man pants.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Representing.
James doesn't only, live podcast once in 1 hour a week. He lives it every day. Yeah. In every form. Podcast t-shirt. What more do you want?
I did tell my mum earlier today that I would give her a mention and do a little shout out, and also tell if anyone else wants something like this made. Her mobile number is
now taking commissions.
But there you go. Good to see Steve from SCW. Hope you're well, lads. Thanks for joining us, Steve. I don't know whether you're actually still here, but thanks for joining us. He's had enough already. He's bored. But yeah, that was Christmas, really. Not just the t-shirt. I did get other things. I got a toolkit. Man stuff. Man stuff that I need. Mainly because during 2021, there was a lot of different jobs around the house that I would say to my dad, "I'll give us a hand with this," and he'd go, "Have you got this bit of kit or whatever?" And I go, "No." So I think he noted it all down. And
I love having, just to digress, I love having tools. I love having like a garage with tools in it for specific purposes. And you buy something, you think, I'm only going to use this once. And then like a couple of years later, you think, I've got what I need for that. I started foolishly, and I say foolishly because it's gone a bit wrong, rebuilding my guitar. It is the guitar I had first, which you can't really see because the light's off, but it's behind me. I got it when I was about 15. It's absolutely knackered. And I was taking this thing apart and all the screws were rusted, all the bits were rusted. So I thought, I bought new pickups. I wired it completely from scratch myself. I cleaned it up. It looked beautiful. But as I've never wired a guitar before, there were some slight technical hiccups. And then I managed to break one of the tone pots as well, and that smashed up. So, yeah. Hey, it looks great.
It's still there?
It is still there. It's just not playable at the moment.
You've not binned it then?
I've not binned it, no. It's well repairable. But then Christmas sort of caught up with me, and I can't take over the kitchen table and have a guitar parts strewn everywhere.
Is it going to get to that point where you've got to take it to the repair shop on BBC?
And they have to correct all my errors, probably. Yeah. It's all good fun. I loved it.
If you tell them how it is that you want it to look and just say that's how it did look.
Yeah. They'll do it, won't they?
They'll do it.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
I'm just thinking about other things that have happened in 2021. Like we discussed loads of different things that have happened, obviously through the podcast. But like Facebook rebrand, that's a big. That's a pretty
exactly. Meta.
In fact, I was watching the Big Fat Quiz of the Year was on the other day, and that was one of the questions.
I haven't seen that, and I love watching that because you see so many things on that and think, "Wow, I didn't know that happened," or "Wow, I forgot that happened."
Yeah. But the big thing for me over 2021 was the year of the podcast, because obviously lockdown happened in March 2020.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That was when we started working from home and things like that in the UK.
So we went through pretty much 2020 at home.
And we only started the podcast back up. Like, it feels like forever now, but we had a bit of a break. And what was it, July, maybe?
July time,
we started doing the podcast again. So we're still pretty young in podcast sense, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. So we started up, but then you slowly started seeing loads of other podcasts starting up as well. Yeah. And it wasn't until kind of probably the middle of this year, so a year after, let's say, that you slowly started seeing them drop off again because people hadn't got the time to do it.
We went back to work or whatever it may be. Yeah.
We stood strong. We stood the test of time. And you pointed out that at the beginning of this year, because we had the whole kind of review of the year thing come up on Anchor, didn't we?
Which is really cool.
Yeah, amazing. In fact, I looked at it the other day and it said that we've had over 3,000 plays of our show, which is a bit mind-blowing, really.
Is massive, absolutely massive. Now you think that's happened, seeing one person or two people listen to each show is great, but when you think of like that many plays is incredible,
And then to add YouTube onto it, which we've become more kind of productive on over the last kind of 12 months, I'd say.
We started the year pretty much with like a couple of followers on YouTube, and now we've got over 100, which again is a huge landmark for us, definitely.
Yeah, and it was never to kind of set the bar too high and have expectations. If you keep your expectations low, you can only
we can only be better than average,
That's from something. Is that from?
I don't know. Is it?
It is. It's from Spider-Man, isn't it? Shit, because I'm sure MJ says that. Low expectations.
I accidentally, talking of quotes, I accidentally quoted Wayne's World without realizing I quoted Wayne's World the other day.
Right.
I was watching. What was I watching? That's going to annoy me now. I was watching something, and there was a bit with a roadie, and the roadie said like a lot of stuff. And I said I turned to Kerry and went, my wife, turned to Kerry and went, that roadie was surprisingly well informed, wasn't he? And that's for Wayne's World, when they asked the roadie about stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, and blah blah blah, and they're going here, and amazing. It was completely lost on her, but I was really excited by that moment. But,
I mean, it's lost on me a bit at the moment, and I haven't watched Wayne's World in a while, so
you need to watch it.
But but when you said about that kind of review of the facts and figures of our show, like the first episode of this year was with Ricky Martin. Which is mad.
Which personally feels like years ago. Like it feels like an absolute age ago that we did that episode.
Yeah.
But obviously not. Yeah.
Yeah. And think of the people. I mean, I don't want to keep going over these things, but because when we done our 50th episode, we talked a lot about guests that we've had in the past, from be it friends of the show or these kind of celebrities,
well-known-ish people.
It's mad. And not just that, then the network that we've made since then as well.
I was going to say, it's fantastic. And there are, some people like Ricky that sort of been on the show, which is great to know. And they're people that certainly I do drop a message now and again and whatever, which is really nice. But I think the ones that certainly I cherish more than anything are some of the, like, as you said, the network we've had, like that's grown and that's embraced us and brought us in. you know, like doing the Dawn of Comics quiz and you know, all of those sort of things that we've been introduced to and really, you know, have our back with stuff. Keep catch up, and all those guys are amazing. Apologies if I've left you out, but you know, out in the blank, Robbie, you know, he was the first person to invite us on the show, and you know,
and now we're on a movie
last year, and now we're in a movie. Come on, you know, dreams come true. So yeah, it's been an awesome year.
Well, when you think we've been in a movie, we've released a song.
We have, yeah.
You know, we are Matt Healy. You know, all them sort of things. It's pretty crazy, really.
It's pretty crazy. We've been in a retro gaming magazine.
We've been, oh my twice, God, Sega Mania magazine.
Sega Mania. We were on the cover, on the back cover, but on the cover of Sega Mania magazine. And we're in the next episode, next issue 2, which when it finally arrives, we'll sort of share that with everyone as well. So yeah, it's insane.
Shout out to them as well, because they're having a bit of a rough time with, you know, for those who know, they've had some delivery issues with their issue 3, which I know they were so pumped about as well. Like, because I think it's a slightly bigger issue. They had some. Wasn't there an issue with that first and foremost? The quality of the paper was slightly thicker.
I think so. Yeah. So it's twice as heavy or something like that. Yeah.
Heavy, so then it cost them more to, and they didn't offset that to the customers. And then they've had this issue where I think about 4 boxes worth have all gone missing. So who's that? Is that unbelievable? I think that's my dad has joined us.
It's a family thing.
I'm at work. It is. It's unbelievable, Jeff. It's amazing.
But Sega Mania, if you have any interest in gaming at all, check out Sega Mania magazine. They're basically dedicated to retro gaming, specifically Sega, and doing a year an issue. We're on issue 3 now, which is the one that we're all waiting for. And they just need love. They need absolute love, because they do such an amazing job. They do it themselves. It's a completely independent project. They, you know, are learning from scratch every single day. And unfortunately, it seems that a few people have been giving them a bit of a hard time because they have ridiculous expectations, and they don't deserve it. They're awesome in what they do.
Massively. Definitely. And then things like Patrick Hickey Jr., if you remember him from when we had him on, he was part of lesser known comics. I think his comic was through Condry, exactly. And then he actually stepped away from them and has now set up his other one, which is Legacy Comics, which seems to be growing huge. I don't know if you're keeping track of what's going on there, but they're making like local news and
I was going to say, I saw that he was on TV the other day, but I didn't catch why. I mean, that's
but both again certainly from the comic side, when you've mentioned kind of Dawn of Comics and the Nerd Herd and people like that, you know, all the gang from there, Chris from Off My Shelves, who we've got Triple G, all these comic book people who we've made friends with, and the ones from, you know, over the pond. You know, the comic book side has actually been quite big for us. Like, even though we're not huge, we're not big collectors.
I was going to say, just as a disclaimer, we don't really know much about comics, but it's amazing seeing this world and being welcomed into it and learning from them. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
But yeah, so crazy year for the podcast, and you know, next year is going to be just
exactly. Who knows when you know, in the future year of 2022 what that will bring. One thing I know it will bring, like on a personal thing, which isn't really, it's sort of a personal thing, but isn't a personal thing.
You're replacing me.
New host. No, it's not a new host. I'm a shameless plug here. My youngest, about over a year ago now, this was, had an idea for a song, right? And he used to sing this thing, and it was called Teddy Overload. The song is called Teddy Overload, and he used to do this, Teddy Overload, and I kept singing it. And I said, I'm going to turn that into a proper like song. So I did, and that was last year. It was like last summer. I made a full song for Teddy Overload. As of January the 1st, that's going to be live on all streaming platforms. So
we'll be sharing the hell out of that.
That's it. We'll be sharing that. Listen to Teddy Overload.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
We have got some new things coming up on the show. We've been discussing about getting people to join us. You know, we've had guests on before, but with these live shows, what we're looking at potentially is having people dropping in and out and, you know, saying hello, stopping by, not just in the comments, but coming actually on the show. Yeah.
In the studio as such.
So I can see that Chris from Off My Shelves, who we've mentioned a few times, plug, go and check out his channel. It's awesome. Don't worry, I don't know much about them either, referring to comic books, which is crazy.
I think that's a lie, though, because he definitely does know about comic books.
He definitely does. And honestly, the way he puts his show together, and having been on the quiz with Chris, he's one of the funniest people I think I've ever met. Like, he's so witty, and yet when you watch his show, it is so well put together. It's incredible. And I think
I was expecting to say he's so witty, but then when you watch his show,
oh no, it's like professional. but even with that, I mean, you've said about us not knowing a great deal about it. Like, there's just the detail that they go into. Like, you know, the make. It's not just what the book. You know, if I was reviewing a comic book, it'd be, oh yeah, the artwork was pretty good. The story was good. Yeah. But they're like talking about how the makeup of it is. It's not even just the comic, which to me is mad. Yeah. And then the kind of whole rarity of them and whether it's a kind of issue 1 or whatever. So yeah, crazy. But another thing, so we've talked about that, and then another thing that I've had in my mind, and I don't mind revealing this now, is the Metropolis.
Metropolis.
We're going to be bringing back,
which we keep talking about, don't we?
We've not actually thought about what we're going to do with it, so
no,
I'm copywriting that right
name.
now.
Great
the Metropolis. Name. Metropolis. Get that. Write that down. Yeah, loads of exciting things to come. More guests.
Yes. More guests, definitely. I think that's one thing as well that, you know, we, like James said, we had loads of guests, then we didn't. Like in the past couple of
we decided to go back a little bit, didn't we?
We wanted to take it back to its roots of just the two of us talking, because we enjoy it. And weirdly, we really missed it. Like having someone else in the room. It was that they were the third wheel, and it was you know, getting in the way a little bit. So it was just the two of us. We worked on our relationship, and now we're ready to bring a third wheel back into this relationship. Yeah.
Chris, thank you very much. Blushing here may be the wine though.
It's fine. You Chris, you can be our third wheel anytime. I'm just putting that out there. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, something that I'm sure Chris would be keen to talk about, and I'm keen to see his comments and whoever else is with us. There is another person. It might still be the Jeff. It might be
it's your dad.
Steve, your dad. Not working hard enough. And Dad, if you missed the beginning of the show, I'm wearing the t-shirt, just so you know. Right, so what a year it was for Marvel. Marvelous year, some might say. So I think off the back of 2020, when we saw the end of the Infinity Saga, you and I both said, wow, that was like not a long slog, because obviously it was over 10 years or 11 years nearly, maybe, I don't know, but you were just thinking, God, have we now got to start again as such? But I think it's actually, I don't know if you agree with this, I think it's actually, you're still getting references to a lot of the stuff, and you have to, you know, you had the blip, you had what happened with Thanos and characters like Iron Man and Captain America and so forth, Black Widow. So you had to have nods to them things at times, but they have started to move now, I feel, fully into this, what I'm referring to, and I'm sure it will be as the multiverse saga.
Yeah.
But we've had so many shows, and excuse me for looking at my phone. I know you've got them written down as well. So
I've got them written down if you want me to read them off.
Well, we kicked off the year, because this was the year that started with all the Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't sure how it was going to work, but I honestly think, and we've spoken about this a little bit already, And after I went to see Spider-Man recently, we kind of got talking about what our favourite ones were from over the past 12 months. So we kicked off with WandaVision, and for me, that was probably still my standout one.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it was the one for me that out of all the things they announced, it wasn't that clear what it was. Like it, even, and I guess even watching the first few episodes, it still was. You still had to think, oh, what? How's this fit in? What's this all about? But it was, I think, for that reason, like the whole unique perspective that brought in, and just the whole production, it phenomenal. Yeah, for me, standout one the whole year. That was out in January, so you know it's set a very high bar, I think, for the other stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Chris has just brought in a comment about what we're talking about. Animated shows, TV shows, films, all smashing it. My main worry is how the source material is still playing about eighth fiddle, which is mad considering there would be nothing without them. What does he mean by that?
Well, I think it's a very interesting comment, because, and you see that as a thread through a lot of media at the moment. You know, in that you're almost sort of, Marvel have got this whole backlog of like decades of stuff that they can then draw from, and they do. But then, what about moving forward with like the comic books? You know, what are you doing with the comic books now? Are the stories now in the comic books standing up on the, you know, the same level as the previous ones? Because if you're like continually mining the nostalgia or like the references of the past, it's you just end up in that cycle, don't you? And you we're going to talk about it a bit later with reboots. Like films, particularly at the moment, are terrible for that. It's like, well, where are the new ideas? Where's the where are we taking this forward, instead of, oh, we're going to do a film based on that? You know.
Yeah.
And what I mean?
You know, what's interesting you saying that, and based on Chris's comment as well, I saw a post actually earlier on Instagram, and it had a picture from the comic books of Echo holding a gun towards Kingpin.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things, because both of us,
it's
we
new
haven't
to
got,
us, isn't it?
It's new to us, but there'll be people who watch that and go, that
I've
links
seen
to
that before, almost.
Yeah. And
I know where they're going with this.
I don't know. This has always been a bit of a weird thing for me, and it happens with a lot of movies as well, because most movies, I think, you know, big films are based on books that have been made. You know, Lord of the Rings, for example. I've never read the books. Harry Potter, never read the books, mainly because I'm not a Harry Potter fan. But
he never learned to read. Is the
and I'm literally just hoping that I read what's on the screen in these comments. But yeah, so you know, I often think if I haven't got an expectation from a book or from a comic in this scenario, then everything I'm seeing is new.
Yeah.
Now,
and unfortunately, I think that's the same for a lot of people as well. You know, it's the sad reality is a lot of people will walk into or sit there and watch Hawkeye, for example, and that's their first sort of interaction with that storyline. And it's fine, you know. They've been entertained. Everyone goes home happy, but you know, it still exists short term, doesn't it? I guess, unless they, you know.
I mean, you say everyone goes home happy. I was really
using Hawkeye as an example. Yeah, that was very underwhelming. I think it's
I felt that was a really, really flat way to end kind of the whole series collective of 2021, because all the others have done really well. The Kingpin versus Kate Bishop really pissed me off. Like really, not just because he got shot with an arrow, he got exploded, right?
Yeah.
He definitely didn't get killed at the end. I'm not having it. When Maya shot that gun, the fact that the camera wasn't there to see, you know, obviously it's how it's been done.
Yeah.
He didn't get killed, but there's talk. I've seen some people saying about in the comics there's a bit where he's blinded for a period of time, so maybe they do that. She shot him in the eye. I don't know. Unbelievable, Jeff. But what annoyed me most, not the fact that he was getting shot and arrows shot at him and all that. It was just the fact how easy Kate Bishop took that beating and carried on. Like there was no sort of scars or
I made that comment. Yeah,
she's not a superhero.
That when she's fighting Yelena, is Yelena, isn't it? I'm getting her name right. In that scene now, I said I said, hang on, Yelena's a trained assassin that has been trained to kill like since she was 6 or whatever, and she's not. Basically, like how does that work? I know she, after her dad died, she said, "Oh, I'm gonna train and blah blah blah." So I can defend myself. But come on, like it's just different, isn't it? But
it just wound me up because I've watched all the Daredevil series, so I know what happens in that. Sure. And Daredevil takes an absolute beating from him.
Yeah.
And yet Kate Bishop, good old Kate Bishop, and this isn't me kind of. I know what Mark will be thinking. It's a woman. James doesn't like it.
Women.
James hates women. Don't tell my wife that. So it's not even about that. It's just kind of having that. I'm all for strong female characters in these things, and I'm all for that. But don't then have someone that's. I mean, he's like 4 times, and that's an understatement. 4 times the size of her, and he's hitting her. He's not holding back.
Yeah,
I know it's a TV show, and I'm trying not to take it too seriously. But
this is the thing, though, with these shows, and Hayley heard that comment. Watching these shows, it's very hard though, because, and I often have this sort of discussion when we're watching it, is someone will go, "Oh, but that can't be right, that can't happen." I'm like, yeah, but we're watching a film that's about, I don't know, some guy from space and he's doing this. Like it's just what it is, isn't it?
I get that. But with this scenario, she is just a human who has trained in fencing and martial art, I don't know, and bow and arrowing. That's even how you refer to it as.
Archery is what you're looking for in this situation.
Whatever. Bow and arrowing is the hashtag bow and arrowing. So that's what I don't get, and she's still like 21 or something like that. She's not. It's not like she's a trained veteran fighter or anything like that. It just felt a little bit. I don't know if that's his way. If that was the way he came to an end in the Marvel series, if it is, and I don't think it is, seems a bit lame to me. But I felt the whole series had that sort of vibe to it. To be fair,
do you think though it's because I was watching it and thinking, is it because Hawkeye's just a conventionally boring character, or is it because the story was bad? And I couldn't really decide, if I'm honest. Because in the films, and like all the times you've seen him previously, he's not that exciting, is he? Like
no.
as a whole.
No, so, I quite like the death aspect because that was a bit new, a new layer to him.
The highlight for me in the entire series was Steve Rogers the musical. If I'm honest, I thought that was absolutely awesome. Like, and I don't know whether you saw the the end scene where you had the entire. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. It's meant to be bad, and but it was enjoyably bad as such.
I discussed this with Mark. Everyone knows with any Marvel film or TV show or series that's happened, there's always that kind of excitement of what is the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
And that was it. If they'd done that and then had something, a little tidbit of something at the end, but there was nothing, and that kind of disappointed me again. But again, it was kind of the theme of the series for me.
He was already disappointed. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
go on.
Oh, go on. No, you go, because I was going to change subject.
I was just going to say, it introduced Echo to it, which we're going to have an Echo series. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Whether that's going to be good. What's Chris said here? Sorry. Even in his private pile day, he would have kicked her face in. He would have. That's the thing. Don't get me started.
But there have been good Marvel things. Like, so WandaVision starting off fantastic. I think let's go through them. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I found okay. Like, it was all right.
I like the fight scenes in it.
The story I thought was very good. I like the whole thing about people being displaced and that sort of aspect to it. I thought that worked really well. Loki left me with sort of. It was good, but it left me with a few mixed feelings. I'm honest. It was sort of a bit. I don't know. But sort of one that I know was really one of your favourites, which I still haven't watched all of. What If was
incredible.
That's it, and I think that's a good example of them using their source material for in a very clever way. We've said it loads on the show. Like these companies have got such a wealth of information that they can draw from, and it doesn't have to be in the rigid structure of Captain America only does this and this only works this way. Mix it up, do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I thought that was a real positive and a real clever spin on it. And I took those for face value. I know, it would upset some people. And we've talked about in the comments in the past, and that some people didn't necessarily like, oh, well, that's not right. This character should be doing that. But that was sort of the whole point of it, was like, there weren't any rules. It doesn't matter, go crazy with it as such. So, yeah. Well,
sorry. Welcome to the party, Phil. Phil's Nerdiverse. How you doing? And this just shows you really the difference in opinion on all of these things. So Phil, for the listeners, Phil saying Hawkeye has been my favourite Disney Plus Marvel show. It took over from WandaVision. Now we've hyped WandaVision, and it just shows you that there's shows. I mean, you and I said, from a movie standpoint, we've both watched Spider-Man, the latest one. I thought it was one of the best Marvel films ever made, and you weren't too sure on it.
I thought it was average at best. Yeah. So that's it. It was all down to personal opinion, isn't it? In the long run, with these things.
And we've talked about kind of professional reviews and that you get in the newspaper and film magazines and things like that. It is down to one person's opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on a film front, you can. There's quite a few from the Marvel thing, which again have been quite divisive. Like Black Widow in July. Yeah,
it was all right.
It was
I liked Yelena in it. I thought she was brilliant.
She was a very strong character. Yeah, she was. But I think they completely messed up that story. Shang-Chi in September.
Brilliant.
Awesome film. Absolutely awesome. Can't
I wasn't sure how you was going to feel about that with the whole mythical stuff.
Yeah, it was fine. It was. There weren't any hobbits. There weren't any like trolls or fantasy stuff. Fantasy definitely isn't my thing. But the whole, it was more like what's the word? Mythology? Is that probably the right thing?
You was all right. You was all right with like the little weird thing that looked like a big toe. That little creature thing.
I'll admit, right, here's my admission for this.
That was the bit you fell asleep through.
And this film, and it is because I'm old. I was sitting at the table, and I can't remember what I was doing. I think I was working, unfortunately. It was like an evening, and I was working, which was really rubbish. But I was watching it and really enjoying it and sort of going from my laptop to the TV. But because I'm old and I have to wear glasses to see the laptop, if I had my glasses on, I could see the laptop, but not the telly. So there were some bits where I'd look at the telly, I couldn't see anything. And then I was doing like that old person thing. So I probably missed out on that. Yeah.
I mean, it was quite prominent. Ben Kingsley's, who was the...
I remember him in it. Mandarin. He was from Iron Man 3, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Mandarin, yeah. He was the fake Mandarin.
Yeah.
And he had that weird little thing that was telling them the directions. Only he could understand what it was saying.
Yes, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, no, that was fine. I don't get because when they first
the dragons, you're out with the dragons.
Yeah, they first get there, don't they? And they're driving in that car and they see like all the weird stuff, don't they? Yeah. I do remember that now. Yeah. I thought it was really good. It was. I came out of that, and it's got the same. What's the word? Not message, but I came out of that in the same way that I came out in watching Black Panther. And I think it was brilliant because it embraced that culture and it brought an entirely fresh perspective to it. And I really appreciated that, I think, which was really, really nice. I don't remember it looking like a large hairy ass. But I'm going to watch that back. So, yeah.
I agree. Phil's just said here the scaffold high-rise building fight scene was great. So when they went to meet up with his sister, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, that bit.
Fantastic. Such great action.
I agree with what you said. A good point that someone made to me recently, who was it who told me? Adam, I think, because he watched Adam Wheeler from Secret Protectors. He isn't a member of the Secret Protectors. He's the creator. He said to me, the only thing that kind of is a little bit annoying about Shang-Chi was that there's this, we already had Wakanda, which was a hidden place from the rest of the world as such, this secret place. And now you've got another secret place that's never been referenced before. So, but I mean, can you reference everything?
No, exactly. And it's all made up. Like there can be as many secret places as you want, can't there?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing with that. Bring them on. Other fit, the next one of Marvel, Eternals, which you've seen, I've not seen.
I've seen. I loved it again. I really enjoyed it because again, it was fresh. It was new. It wasn't. Not that I wouldn't want to see the same characters from the past kind of 10 years, but it was quite a big epic. It had a bit of an Avengers feel about it, although they already knew each other and they were already a team as such of Eternals.
Yeah,
I liked the story. I liked the twists in it. I thought it was really good. And
then, well, I haven't written it down, but just a small mention: the new Venom film. Because that's technically a Marvel film. Have you seen it? I can't even remember what it's called. Something Carnage.
Let There Be Carnage.
Let There Be Carnage.
My dad said to me, and it's something about chaos.
Chaos, yeah. Yeah. But
I didn't enjoy it.
I went in with the expectation that it was going to be terrible because I didn't really like the first one. And it was just weird. Like it was, yeah. It left me feeling dead inside, like the first one did. If I'm honest,
I don't feel like I should be laughing during a Venom movie.
That's the weird thing. Like it's like watching an episode of Chucklevision or something, isn't it? Instead of like this deadly symbiote who eats things.
Yeah,
right, well, it's a bit weird.
I guess the vibe is that there's a reference, I can't remember the name of it now because I really didn't want to pay attention to it, but there's a reference that what they do is they're bad for the sake of good.
Right.
But it's said in a different way. Someone will probably come in and tell me. But like, whereas most superheroes won't kill someone, Venom will go around killing people, but he'll kill the bad people.
Sure. Still rubbish film.
Then it's the jokey side of it that I don't like. I wasn't sure about Woody Harrelson as Carnage either. Didn't quite work for me.
He's good at playing a bit of a madman, I think. So that worked to that degree. But yeah. Let's move on from that. And then that brings us to Spider-Man, which
which
you loved.
Mentioned. Yeah,
I thought it was all right. For me, I just think I was really looking forward to it, and I thought it was an incredible, like, building up to it. I was desperate to see it, all the hype about like the three sort of previous Spider-Man being in there and blah blah blah, and this whole like thing. And then for me, it just felt lazy. The whole story felt lazy. It is, and we've talked about this privately, but like. Oh, yeah, Peter Parker's got a problem. He goes to Doctor Strange and says, can you do this thing? And Doctor Strange's like, it's a bit dodgy, but yeah, come on, let's just do it anyway. And everything, whoops, it's all messed up. And then, this whole thing's happening with the bad guys coming in. Oh, we just need to send the bad guys back. And then Aunt May's like, hang on, let's not send them back. that even though this is terrible, like implications on the world, let's not send them back. We'll make their lives better, by changing their future or whatever. And then it goes off on this thing. Oh, but as a result, Aunt May's died. Whoops. And then like at the end, it is at the end. Doctor Strange turns up and says, "Oh yeah, I just need to do the spell and I can sort this out anyway." And you just think, what? It just seemed a bit lazy. And obviously that is my very truncated summary of that entire film. There's a lot more that happens in it, but
yeah, I think there needed to be a bit more work on what the spell was that he wanted to create, because the reason it obviously goes wrong is because while he's making
he keeps changing it.
He keeps changing it and wants to add this person.
But if you think in I know Infinity War or Endgame, I can't remember which, where they want Doctor Strange to change time, don't they? Essentially, and he says, I've seen 6 million different options or whatever it is, and I'm completely misquoting that part of the film, and I know what's going to happen as such, and he's very protective, and he doesn't want to really dabble, does he, in it? I'm right in saying that.
Yeah.
Oh no. So it just seemed a bit out of character with this. He's like, oh, you're going then. We've just teared the world apart.
Phil makes a good point here. I saw a meme the other day about Peter Parker asking to forget about Mysterio and not Peter Parker. Jobs again. So if everyone forgot about Mysterio, then no one would know that he's Spider-Man. Go on.
My final word would be on it as well is old Tobey Maguire was very off-putting for me as well. And you can't help it. He's 20 years older than what he was when in these films, but it left me feeling a bit like when I watched the fourth Indiana Jones. Like Indiana Jones is this old man, and you think, oh come on, I just can't look past that. And like Tobey Maguire's haggard face, Andrew Garfield, I think, came out the best in all of it. I thought he was awesome. Like he really shone through, and I didn't find him like that in the films that he was in, but I think he excelled in his very small part.
And do you know what's amazing off the back of that? There's been huge fans calling for another amazing Spider-Man to be made with him off the back of it. And I think that's, a credit to him for how he was in that film. Yeah, Tobey Maguire's long done now with Spider-Man. I can't anything.
He was when Spider-Man 3 happened. If
I mean,
that was a stinker.
What was nice is that there was kind of jokes and nods towards all them old films where the mistakes were made and things like that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fun. But yeah, it's there's definitely, I'm very confused with how it's been left now, because surely if they've created a spell for everyone to forget who Spider-Man is, that shouldn't mean that MJ and Ned don't know who Peter Parker is, as in he's Peter Parker, they go to school with him, they're all mates. It should just be that they now don't know that Peter is Spider-Man, whereas the end was that they didn't know who Peter was.
Well, I thought that wasn't that it, that they forget, no one knows who Peter Parker is. I thought that was the thing.
He didn't want people to know that he was Spider-Man.
Right, okay. I don't know.
Robbie's in the room, aka Tom
the director.
The director is here. Forgot it all, which is mad considering you're in the film. Chris, it was the best cinema experience I've had in a long time. The crowd reaction of the reveal of Toby and Andrew and their team up, so much fun, and I can't separate experience from. I agree. For me,
that's fair enough. Yeah.
Do you know what? There was points that you remember that bit in Endgame where all of a sudden they all come back, or the bit where Captain America gets Thor's hammer.
Yeah, exactly.
And you hear the crowd go,
amazing. Yeah.
That was happening in the cinema. There were people sobbing when Aunt May got killed. There were people sobbing when Andrew Garfield's character saved MJ, and you saw the emotion because of everything that happened with Gwen. You know, all of that stuff was like powerful. I get that there's elements that kind of, like you say, are maybe a bit rushed.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see what happens now.
Yeah.
What's Phil saying? Phil saying, I agree, Chris. Add the hype to the movie. Matt Murdock's inclusion, we haven't even I cried easily 4 separate occasions. I need to watch it a few more times, really. Again, I get that. Matt Murdock being in there. I mean, it's the same King bringing them two now into the MCU, or this kind of softer version, which I was always a bit skeptical about because of how good Daredevil was.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Well.
Sorry, I just wanted to see what Robbie said. I saw it in theaters and people were double taking it. Damn right they were.
But Robbie, if those aren't familiar, is pretty much should be a stunt double for Tom Holland. Very, very, very much same person visually. So, yeah.
Non-Marvel related, just quickly before we go on to the reboots, I actually saw a post earlier today, the top 10 most anticipated blockbusters of 2022.
Wow.
Let me list them for you. Go on. Sorry, go
on. No, you go. Go for
it. Black Panther 2, number 1 there.
Wow.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, so the next Into the Spider-Verse film.
That's going to be incredible.
The Batman.
Yes.
No questions. We saw the trailer yesterday. Incredible. The latest trailer. I hope that's the last trailer now as well. I don't want to see any more because that's March.
No. Yeah.
And me, you, and Mark are all going to go see it together on release day. Thor: Love and Thunder. That's coming in at number 4. Jurassic World: Dominion.
Really? Nah. No, they've been good. Don't get me wrong. The Jurassic World films have been decent films.
Yeah.
Do we need another one? No.
Apparently so. We do. Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse Madness.
Yeah.
Avatar 2. I mean, we've spoken about Avatar.
They've been making that for 10 years, haven't they? At least.
Haven't they got 3 of them lined up?
Yeah, because I think he was making 2 and 3 at the same time, wasn't
he? Yeah. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Not really bothered.
I haven't even seen the first Aquaman, to be honest.
No, me either.
And then your favourite actor, Tom Cruise, Top Gun Maverick.
That's one that must have been delayed, isn't it? Because I remember seeing the trailer for that ages ago.
Yeah.
But
and Mission Impossible 7 is number 10.
What? Mission Impossible needs to do a crossover with Fast and Furious, I think, doesn't it? But like the amount of sequels they churn out, then it needs to be some sort of combined sequel, I think. But you saying Top Gun brings us very nicely to what we was going to talk about next, which was, did someone order a reboot? Because we have had a lot this year, haven't we? A lot of reboots. And ones that just
remind me.
Well, one that I started watching actually before this, but inconveniently I had to do a podcast, so I couldn't watch the rest of it. Coming to America.
Is that a reboot?
Well, it's probably more a sequel, but as it's been so long, couldn't you not sort of regard that? I sort of regard it as a reboot.
I'm with you.
I watched the first one a couple of days ago because I hadn't seen it in ages, and I introduced my eldest to it. Fantastic. I've loved that film for as long as I can remember. The second one, it's just, there's that character that was in it 30 years ago. Oh, isn't that funny? Oh, there's another character. Oh, look, he looks like he should be dead. It's that sort of thing. It was okay.
Is it really bad?
I saw.
Not seen the original.
You've never seen the original. Just stop now, leave, and start watching it.
Okay.
See ya. Go and watch it. Mate, it's incredible. It is so funny. It's Eddie Murphy on his peak, on fire. It's hilarious. June is one that.
Yeah, that is.
Have you watched?
Still not seen it.
No. Bored me to tears. Looked beautiful, but bored me to tears. I know Mark was disgusted when I said that, but hey,
my dad said
they're lining up another franchise. That's all they're doing. Ghostbusters,
which Phil's
Ghostbusters
mentioned.
Afterlife.
Yeah,
Phil's mentioned it there. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Where does that sit though? I know it's a long time after, and it is referencing the characters from the originals.
Yeah.
The director is the original director's son. Is that right?
Yeah. Jason.
So
Reitman. Yeah.
So you have got some kind of consistency there.
Yeah.
But is it a reboot or is it an extension of? Oh, you having a wee there?
Pouring. I'm just having a wee at the side. aka pouring beer, and that's how professional we are on this show. That's the thing. It's a sequel, and it's set like the actual amount of years, pretty much from the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see their lead into the reboot, which is why I included it in there. It's sort of, you can tell now that if this one works out as they want it to, they're probably going to go on and churn out some more of them. But it's not obviously like a reboot in the sense that the female-led one was. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good film by itself. It took the path a bit like Force Awakens did, in the sense of they sort of copied the story of the original film and sort of referenced that quite a lot. But personally for me, and I'll be interested to hear what other people say about it when they see it, in that I felt that the new cast was the strongest part of the film. And, I don't think this is necessarily a spoiler. You do get the older cast in it in certain points. And I thought in a way you didn't necessarily need it. And I was really apprehensive about watching it, having seen the second trailer that came out where it's like, oh, there's Stay Puft, there's a Pterodog thing, there's this and there's that. You think, God, I've just seen all of the old stuff. There's Ecto-1, there's, they're doing this. Like it's almost like they're holding that shiny toy in front of you. Oh, look, it's Ecto-1. Look, you're going to like this film. And I don't know. It was a solid film, though. It really was.
I guess you've got to get the right balance of it being nods to the past, but keeping it fresh with this new cast, young people coming through. Paul Rudd being one of the main characters.
Paul Rudd is quite a minor part in it, actually. Really? And that's a surprise. Like when you see the trailer, you think, oh, he's going to be a big thing. He's a main character, but you don't see him as much as you think. It is led by, and Chris has mentioned that, like it's really cool that he said his daughters want to see it as they've seen the original and they like the look and the female lead in it. Which is Egon's granddaughter is like the main sort of character in it, and she's incredible. She's such a good character. I don't know who, I've never seen her as an actress before in anything, and she is really, really good.
I thought she might have been out of Stranger Things or something like that.
No, don't think I've seen her in Stranger Things. But she's brilliant, and she really holds that film together, and that's why it's sort of almost like you have her and you have a few other characters in there, and you think, oh, you don't really need to be plugging the old stuff because she's doing really good, like holding this film together. So yeah,
Phil makes a point here as well about, I don't think this generation can take the brilliance of Bill Murray. He is irrelevant today. I love Bill Murray. I think he's incredible, but I watched him and the other two OGs. I can't remember their actual names.
Dan
Aykroyd and
Ernie Hudson, because Thingy's not around anymore.
So
Ramis.
And when I saw Bill Murray on that, I was like, God,
he's too old.
He looks so old now.
Yeah. I love Bill Murray in his day, but that was one of the things with this new film. Seeing Bill Murray in it now, you think, oh God. Like, he's trying to do like the smart one-liners and stuff, and you think, oh mate,
it just doesn't quite work.
It's a bit sad now, which is a shame, but I guess that's part
of
us.
One's got. I know the big one coming.
Do you? I hope don't disappoint. Suicide Squad is in there, which is a reboot very close to the previous one, and I've not seen either of them, so I can't really pass comment on
And I've seen
those.
both, and controversially like both. So I definitely
go.
like the newer one more. But it definitely is a reboot. Yes, it's the James Gunn version.
Yeah. And the one I've got listed here, which again probably technically isn't a reboot, but it's still for a new generation, as Phil rightly said, Matrix, which I was thinking.
I thought that was
which
be
I've not yet seen. I do want to see it, but I have seen headlines of very mixed reviews of it. So I don't really know what to make of it. And the reason I've not seen it yet is because I feel I've watched the original Matrix loads, so I know that sort of very well. Yeah. But the two sequels to it, I've not seen for years. I saw them at the cinema and was a bit underwhelmed, to be honest, there, seeing them at the cinema. And I've not watched them since the early 2000s. So I need to watch them. I feel I need to watch those and then watch the new one and, see how it is, really.
I've done the same and seen some reviews which aren't great. They're not glowing.
Yeah.
All of which seem to lead to it being another trilogy, potentially.
Really?
I mean, I say trilogy, it could just be another two, but it's certainly apparently. There you go.
Certainly apparently.
It certainly apparently could be, definitely, leading to a sequel.
Yeah.
What's Chris saying here?
So, Chris, is that a real film? That just sounds absolutely insane. Do you want to read it out, James?
A film I'm looking forward to is Tetris, story of the creation and legal battles around the game, starring Taron Egerton.
Awesome actor.
Yeah, he is awesome.
How about that? That would be very, very interesting to see that, because I think it was invented by a Russian guy, wasn't it? And I think that Nintendo then licensed it and probably made all the money, I would have thought.
On High Score.
They spoke to the guy, didn't they? Yeah. I think he's got his money now, as far as I remember, but we've got a bit of money now. Yeah.
Referring to the Matrix, Phil has just said in the Matrix Reload and Revelations, I can't remember the character's name, but they used the two.
It was the two twins, wasn't it? Two blonde twins. That are in that I'm sure it's just the second sequel when they're driving down the motorway and there's the big fight scene and there's these two twins with like blonde dreadlocks or something like that. Yeah,
look like albinos.
I'd forgot about that. Yeah,
that's really good. And just going back to the Tetris one, Chris says that is a real film. I've read the books, and the story is amazing. Wow,
that sounds like a fantastic film. That's right up my street. I look forward to that. So yeah, well, and one film that isn't a reboot, but I thought deserved a mention because it's going to lead to a reboot. Is James Bond: No Time to Die? Which, because Daniel Craig's not doing it anymore. That was it. That was his last one. Even though I think he said the previous film was his last one. But a slight spoiler, he can't do any more after this one. So I thought it was a very good film. It was a very good Bond film. Rami Malek, great villain. Had a pretty solid story.
Is he villain turned good and he's going to be the next Bond?
No, because I think he's all messed up. But it was a good film. Can't say more than that. It was a good, solid Bond film. So yeah, that will lead to a new Bond, and a lot of speculation in terms of who that could be and whatever. And I'm sure we won't know for a while.
Didn't it kind of reveal who was going to be the next Bond?
No. The only thing that's been revealed in the films, which I think may have been revealed in the last one, I can't remember, is because James Bond steps down from sort of his position, he's no longer 007. So like 007 doesn't necessarily denote him. It's the, for want of a better word, like the call sign of that particular spy. So there's a lady who takes over 007. So there's actually another 007 in it, but not another James Bond.
And wasn't there something to do with it that he's got a kid?
Yes, that's what it was. And it links back to...
It's going to be a kid James Bond.
Well, I have to wait a while because she was 12. I'm gonna hazard a guess that. So very young. Spy.
Does your name have to be James Bond to be James Bond?
Well, the thing is with James Bond now, and I don't know how much you know about James Bond, is that up to a point, they started rewriting it because, like, what's his name? Fleming. Can't think of his first name. Ian Fleming, wasn't it? Wrote a series of books, and up to a point, there weren't any more books. So from Quantum of Solace, I want to say, they had to write more. So they can take it wherever they want to now because it's fair game. So yeah. So we will see. Well, let's. I think that's probably all the reboots. So yeah. To finish off, I think just as a little chat, New Year's resolution. But what I was going to say is before we get onto that, even any favourite films in the year?
For me, favourite films of the year.
Yeah, any that stand out to you that you can think of?
It'll have to be Spider-Man because I feel like I've.
That was the last one you saw.
And it was the last one I saw. No, I'll tell you what. Disney have absolutely smashed it with films this year.
Yeah.
I've watched, over Christmas, I've watched some absolute awesome ones. Ron's Gone Wrong.
Yeah. Brilliant. I've not seen that yet, but that looks great.
The other one that we watched.
What about Luca earlier in the year?
Brilliant.
That's great, wasn't that?
Luca was fantastic. Then the one that we both watched on Netflix, The Mitchells versus the Machines. Oh my God.
That's on my list.
I honestly think animated films have shot through the roof this year because I didn't watch Spider-Verse until this year, unless that was out this year.
Yeah. And that was a great film.
So
Mitchells versus Machines, definitely.
Yeah.
Ones that I've written down, one that was delayed from last year, Free Guy, was a real surprise to me. I thought that was potentially going to be absolutely dreadful, and it wasn't. And it was real surprise, the actual storyline. The storyline I thought was, absolutely decent film. One that controversially as well, which I don't know if I spoke to you about this, the new Jason Statham film, which is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Amazing. I absolutely loved it. It's by Guy Ritchie, but it's not like I think it's called The Gentleman, the one he did recently with Hugh Grant in it, like last year, I think that may have been. And that was very standard Guy Ritchie, like story with lots of twists in it and like a bit jokey and stuff. When this is just a straight action film, it's still got a lot of twists in it, but it's just a really good action film. Jason Statham just acts the part. He doesn't overact. It's not cheesy like some of his films are. He just plays a very sort of straight role. Brilliant. Wrath of Man it's called. I can't remember whether I said. But yeah, that was a real surprise. I saw it pop up on Amazon Prime. Said let's watch that. Absolutely engrossed from start to finish. Really, really good story.
Did Guy Ritchie do Snatch?
Yeah. So Lock, Stock, Snatch, and all sorts.
Fun facts that I heard the other day from a comedian, or is it? I think he's an impressionist. He does a lot of football impressionists. Impressions, no impressionists.
Football impressionists.
Yeah. He said he and a mate said they would love to meet the actor who played Bricktop. If you remember Bricktop.
Yeah, I remember Bricktop. Yeah.
And he said, "Oh yeah, it'd be amazing to meet him." But he said, "Why don't we invite him out for lunch?" And he was like, "No, he won't do that." He said, "Just ask him and see what he says." They asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, meet out for lunch." They met up for lunch, and he said, "Absolutely lovely bloke." He's quite a famous actor. He's pretty old.
Think he is.
But he sounds exactly like he does in Snatch when he's just normal. So he said they went out for lunch. He's like, "I'll have the lobster." But a bit Michael Caine. Do you know what I mean? And he had that look about it. I thought he was brilliant. Sorry, just a fun little fact there.
That's awesome.
A couple of films they mentioned. This one I saw only today that it's on Netflix now.
Don't Look Up.
Looks awesome.
Looks amazing. I really can't wait to watch that. That's on the list. Definitely.
And what's her name? She's hot.
I can't remember. There's loads of people in it, isn't there? Like Jonah Hill and all sorts of things.
She in X-Men. That one.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I can't think what she's called.
Encanto, watched that with the kids the other day. Brilliant. If you've seen that, Matt, with your boys, check it out.
I've seen it. I have the problem now that my two are getting older, and I'll look at Disney Plus and go, "Oh, let's watch that. That looks amazing." Oh, I'm watching that. That's rubbish. That's all I get. So unless I force them to watch it, and then they finally admit that no, Dad was right. That is a decent film, which they never do. They'll sit in silence watching it, clearly enjoying it, and then go, "No, it's rubbish." Can I go upstairs now?
Chris said The Green Knight.
No, not heard of it, but we'll check that out.
Beautifully shot, like a proper crazy medieval folk story brought to life. Interesting.
Sounds amazing. Yeah.
Interesting one here. Snyder Cut, Justice League.
That was so hyped. Not seen it.
No.
But
too long.
Too long. It's in black and white. Some rubbish ratio. Yeah.
Yeah, the ratio. Oh, I'm excited. Thank you, guys. Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence, that's exactly who's in it. Yeah. There you go. So, New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, sorry. We'll end on New Year's resolutions. You got any?
I have. Leading on from my sort of story about my failed guitar renovation, that is gonna be a thing. Picking up the guitar again and actually learning properly, I would quite like to do. Also finish some personal projects. Last year, well, I mentioned earlier in the
the transition.
Transition.
Yeah.
What? Transition.
Transition.
Transition. No, not that. That's next year. This year will be, I said, single coming out January the 1st, Teddy Overload by Leonical. We'll be plugging it, so don't worry. That's one thing out of the way. I've got lots of creative projects that are just sitting there not doing anything. A colouring book. Last year, I started doing a colouring book, and it's 90% finished. My artwork, it will be available on Amazon. I just need to sort it out. All the source stuff's there. I just need to put it there, doing the finishing touches, and I'll have a colouring book out. Little bits like that. No, just kicking around, and I think, I'm gonna get that sorted. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It does look really cool. There you go.
I quite like the idea of the guitar one. I mean, I haven't actually thought of any. I'll be completely honest with you. I'll just get in there as a subject to talk about.
Did you have any this year though? That's the thing.
What did I have this year? Maybe. It probably wasn't anything big. The big one I've done was probably...
You failed them. Yeah. Whatever it was.
You remember the year before when I had that one where it was to not have McDonald's for a whole year?
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah.
I did have Burger King though, so I don't know if that makes...
It's not the same, is it? I never do New Year's resolutions. Like this year was the first year, God knows how long I had a New Year's resolution, which I've spoken about many times, was get good at Street Fighter. Or Street Fighter 2 specifically.
No, you're
I'm a master. I can complete the game as Ryu, 1 credit, not dying once. And I do that pretty much every day. So yeah, every day every day, have my dinner. This is my routine. I'll have my dinner, put the arcade machine on, put in 1 credit and play until I die. Like some days I'll be, feeling a bit off. I'll die quite quickly. Most days, finish the game. Done. So yeah,
I'd quite like to add some more games to my platinum completed list.
Well, I gave you a game which you need to complete then. So
my favourite Christmas present, which I should have mentioned at the start of the show, which is the Avengers game on PS5. Yeah, thank you very much, Matt.
There you go.
So I need to. Yeah, I've platinumed 2 games now, I think. So
there you go.
They are
Paw Patrol
It is Paw Patrol, and done that one with a boy, didn't I? Tough game. We done it on normal difficulty. I don't think there were any other difficulties on it. And oh God, what's the one that the PlayStation 5 comes with?
Astro's Playground.
Playground, yeah, or Playroom, whatever it is.
Playroom, that's it, yeah.
So,
There you go.
I like this one just to finish off the show because Phil, amazing. My resolution is to publish at least one more YouTube video.
Do it.
There you go. Haven't beat a game in years. I give up too easily. Chris has said, my resolution is to make sure Phil makes at least one more YouTube video. There you go. So maybe that should all be our resolution. Make sure Phil does one more.
Campaign for that, yeah.
Phil, we'll get you on our show again, and then you can just share that one.
You can count that as a YouTube video, and it will be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. But that's. I think we've spoke for long enough. Hour and 15 minutes.
Hour and 15. That's a hefty old episode for us, isn't it? So yeah, it's been a good one. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for the past 12 months. For following us, for joining us. Everyone, which I think is mainly Chris and Phil tonight. Steve's been here at one point. The unbelievable Jeff's been here at one point.
Even your wife's been on.
Yeah. She's long gone now. But yeah, thank you so much for your support. We've really appreciated it. It's kept us going. We've been invigorated by it throughout the year and changed different things. Look at us now, live shows. Who would have thought it?
Exactly.
Matt, have you got any final words?
No, apart from see you next year, which always sounds awesome, doesn't it?
See you next year.
I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as we did. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our future episodes.
Yeah, and you can also follow us on all social media, so you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and TikTok.